I'm doing this for the third time this season, or the season just passed, because I did obviously the first one, which I'm basing these reactions off of. I did a half-season version where I looked back halfway through the season and maybe changed my opinions a bit, but the one that I'm going to go off of was the one that I did at the start of the season, my predictions for the Scottish Championship at the beginning of the season, and it's fair to say that I didn't do too great. Hopefully you can see that pretty well, and it shows my predictions for the Scottish Championship in the season 2018-19. Obviously made these predictions on the midweek after we beat Dundee United 3-2 at Tannadice, because I thought, well, if I'm going to do them, I need to do them near enough the start of the season, and I didn't have the time to do it before that game, so after that game I thought, I'll just go for it. And that maybe explains this one, and maybe this one, because obviously those two are probably the most wrong here, I would think. There is quite a lot that I did get quite a bit wrong, and I'll openly admit, put my hands up and say that I didn't do great. So let's start off at the bottom. Alloa Athletic. Bog standard choice, wasn't it? I just chose them to go down because they were the only part-time side in the league, and I just thought the general consensus, Alloa to go down. And albeit they finished 8th, and I think it was only about 3 points off of automatic relegation, so at the end of the day I wasn't that far off. The Scottish Championship was a pretty unpredictable league as it went throughout the season anyway, because on the last day of the season or something, I think almost half the league could have been relegated, so it was a pretty hard league to really predict in the first place. But Alloa to finish bottom didn't happen. Shame. Shame on me. 9th, I had my first one right. Cooney of the South to finish in the relegation playoff place. And I'm quite proud of this pick actually, because I think on the comments of the initial video that I did, I had people asking me why do I think Cooney of the South will be down there. And they had Stephen Dobbie. Why would they struggle? Well, they proved that they could struggle even with 43 goals throughout the full season. Obviously not all of them in the league, but he scored a good amount of goals for them. And they still struggled and still finished in the relegation playoff place. So I was right to pick that. And as I said, I'm quite proud of that pick, because it was a bit out there of a pick, because I could have had Ayr United finishing there, or any of the other kind of bottom half kind of teams. But I chose Cooney of the South, and it was correct. I'm going to skim over 8th to 6th, because that's exactly what I did in the video, the initial video that I did, where I actually predicted these finishes. 8th, Morton. I thought this was kind of just a normal pick to kind of choose them for. They obviously ended up finishing above us in the actual league table, and I think they finished 6th or something like that. So they did alright. In fact, they finished 5th. Apologies. So they did alright, and they didn't finish 8th. So I was wrong, but at the end of the day it was kind of slim pickings between the bottom half of the table. Morton to finish 8th was wrong, but I will. So be it. And this was the first one that, at the end of the season, doesn't look horrendously bad, but at one point in the season it was obviously looking like a really bad pick. Ayr United to finish in 7th place. They ended up finishing in 4th, and they did get into the playoffs quite convincingly in the end. At the end of the day they never really looked like moving out of the playoff places, but that poor run of form in 2019 really kind of killed them, and finishing 7th would have been a probably realistic target to stay up initially in the league for Ayr United, but they obviously surpassed all of that, Lawrence Shankland being a big part of that, and he is now leaving Ayr United of course, so be a massive blow to them next season. And I imagine if I do another prediction video for next season that I'll end up picking Ayr United around that sort of finish again, but I got that one wrong. And here is probably the sort of worst one that I had. Falkirk to finish 6th, and in the video that I did at the start of the season I said that they were in here on reputation, and they didn't live up to their own reputation, let's just say that. Obviously there's been more problems than just on the pitch at Falkirk, but at the end of the day the league table only goes on what happens on the pitch, and they ended up going from here where I predicted them to here and into League One. So not the best season, you have to say, for Falkirk, and the fact that they had two different managers pretty much 2 different starting 11s, or maybe even 3 throughout the full season. It just did show that anything on the pitch just wasn't working for them all season, and finishing 6th was a very lofty prediction for me. They did end up finishing probably about 8 or so points away from 6th, so it wasn't the maddest prediction at the end of the season, but that one I got wrong again, so there's another one. As I said at the start of the video, the next one was mainly probably based on what I had just seen from Dundee United. I predicted them to finish outside the playoffs for the first time since they went down to the Championship, and I predicted them to finish 5th. I did however say in the first video that if they kept Xabi Alonso on, they would finish there. But if they changed manager at some point in the season, then they would most likely finish in the playoffs. So there's a wee caveat to add to that one. So in theory, I was wrong, obviously, because I predicted them to finish 5th and they finished 2nd. But in theory I was right, because I said that if they did change manager, then they'd most likely go up the table. So I'm kind of trying to build myself a bit of kind of leeway here. But I predicted Dundee United to finish 5th, it was wrong. So there's another one. In 4th I had Inverness Caledonian Thistle, and I'm actually going to give myself a wee bit of sort of praise for this one, because I think until the second last week of the season they were sitting in 4th and then they jumped up to 3rd in the end, and the difference between 4th and 3rd literally was nothing. I think it was about a point at the end of the season, so I'm not going to be too harsh on myself on this one. It's obviously wrong, but I wasn't anywhere near far off with that one. 3rd, Partick Thistle. They ended up finishing in 6th. Obviously for the majority of the season they were right down the bottom end, and at the end of the season they weren't too far off that either. I think they ended up finishing on something like 42, 43 points or something like that, so there was only a couple of results off of finishing very close to the bottom, but they finished 6th. I predicted them to finish in the playoffs because I thought the money coming down for the Premier League, thought the experience they had in their squad at the time would have served them well, but it really didn't at the end of the day, and Gary Caldwell obviously had to come in, replacing Alan Archibald, and rebuilding that squad. He's done what was asked of him really. Probably when he came in was just to make sure Partick stay in the league and not get a double relegation. At one point it did look quite likely for Partick, but the end of the season run that they had really boosted them up the table, so I was pretty wrong with this one because I predicted them to finish in the promotion playoffs and they had more chance of finishing in the relegation playoffs. But if I'm doing this one, like with the Ayr United one, if I'm doing this prediction video for next season, I will most likely predict Partick to be around this sort of area again. And here it is. Here's the one that I really did have my black and white tinted specs on for. Dunfermline to finish 2nd. I'm not proud of it because they really did let us down this season, and this was obviously based off of that 3-2 win at Tannadice. I was very buoyant, I was very jubilant after that game, and it really didn't serve me well because predicting them to finish 2nd and they ended up finishing all the way down in 7th. It's not the best look, is it? So I did get that one horrendously wrong, and if I'm doing this one next season, I won't be predicting us to finish up there, I don't think. I'll be predicting us to finish sort of in this sort of area. I certainly won't be claiming that we'll be fighting for the title, put it that way. Shame on you, Dunfermline. Shame on you. And the second one that I got right was Ross County to win the league. And throughout the season I actually claimed that they would go and win the double, and they did that as well. So if any Ross County fans want me to kind of boost your hopes for the Premiership campaign coming up next season, then ask me for my predictions and I'll maybe have some insight for you on how your season's going to go. But for this season, I predict them to win the double. They won the Irn-Bru Cup and the Scottish Championship. Predict them to finish 1st, so did well. I did well on this one. So the two that I got right were the relegation playoff place and the promotion winners. Don't think it was a very bold call to say that Ross County would win the league, but I did it and I got it right. So it was the 2 out of 10 that I got right, so I'm going to claim it. But I'm chuffed with it. But the rest of the league, not so much. But that's it for this video, guys. Cheers for watching. If you did enjoy it, please give it a like. Comment down below how many predictions you got right. Obviously that's my predicted table, but based off of what you thought at the start of the season, how many do you reckon you got right, if you can remember what you predicted at the start of the season? And also, subscribe for more of this type of content. We might even have it by the time this video goes up, but based off of the vlog, which got a massive amount of likes at the weekend, I'm set for 1,200 subscribers in the next day or so. So cheers a lot for the support. Until the next video, which will be my reaction to the Premiership predictions that I made at the start of the season tomorrow, I'll see you then. Cheers guys.